Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the New York State Bridge Authority meeting, October 15th, 2015. We have a scheduled board meeting here today. Let me introduce our commissioners. Our Commissioner Ron Dressel to my left, Commissioner Dane Latua, our Assistant Executive Director, Harry Sullivan. We have our Commissioner, Jessica Maglia. We have our Counsel, Carl Whitback. We have our Executive Director, Joseph Ruggiero, and myself, Richard Jarentine, as Chairman. Also around the room are different department heads and personnel of the New York State Bridge Authority. With that, I'd like to adopt the amended regular board meeting of August 18th, 2015. So moved. Second. Any discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adopt the regular board minutes of September 17th as amended. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We have two sets of minutes.
There are two sets of minutes. We did the August 18th, we did the September 17th. Correct?
We did.
Then we do the board meeting agenda.
You didn't do the agenda, you said minutes.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to adopt the agenda?
We want to, yes, we'll make a motion to adopt the board meeting agenda as amended for October 15th.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Please say aye.
Aye.
Administration, no reports. Engineering, Jeff.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First up, we'd like to put in for salt procurement for the coming winter season. Type 2 treated salt. As you can see, we've got all facilities weighing in for a total of $106,392.60.
So moved.
Second.
Before we go on, though, do we have any salt left over from last year? I'm sure
We do.
How much do we have? Approximately?
Well, our bins are probably 75% full right now.
And then, do you think it's carried through the year, hopefully, this year and next year?
This purchase will, yeah.
Did the price go up dramatically?
No,
No, not at all?
not dramatically.
All right. Any other discussion? If not, a roll call. All in favor, say aye.
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 Next up, we have the walkway project assignments, which are revised here that John's passing
Have
out.
the revised, so items B and C on your agenda, these are the revised memorandum and resolutions.
Okay, so the first assignment, number 1, is revised for the construction contract. This is based on, prior we had approved an engineer's estimated cost for this, and now we have the bid documents in hand, and we know what the cost is going to be. So the new figures are on that assignment.
Basically what happened is these bids came in more than the engineering estimates, and Parks basically had to sign off that they're agreeing to pay the higher price than was originally proposed estimate. So that's why when we went back and forth between the agencies, and there's no cost to the bridge authority for this project. It's being solely funded by Parks. We are basically their GC on the job, if you will.
Just being removal of some of the ones that are there?
Basically, it's replacing the deteriorated grout that's in the anchor bolt for the railing.
The railings are fine themselves. It's not that they sit on.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Project work assignment 2 with the walkway is the electrical and camera system design. Majeski Masters did the original design for the rehab project, and then Parks asked for some additional work to be done. So for an extra $20,000, Majeski Masters did this design and will be compensated by Parks.
The board has given a prior authorization on the level engineering to spend on the design work It exceeded that cost, and the bridge authority has not paid the bill, pending park approval, saying they'll pay the bill. So they have agreed to that, and we can go forward.
Move.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Next.
Assignment number 3 is for CSX flagging services, once the contractor gets started. Here again, this amount is from their course account that they sent us, and again, this will be paid by Parks through us to the contractor, CSX.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Next up, we have the extension of the SHUPS system-wide.
No, number C.
I got the railing rehab award of the contract to Westby.
Okay,
C.
We
Right.
approved the scope of work between us and Parks, and now that we're actually going to award the bid. We have to Parks.
right, so oh, here we go.
Just to clarify for the board, we had gone out to bid on an engineering estimate prepared by staff engineering and, our consultant engineering, and the contract bid that came in, Jeff's about to announce that, is the low bidder, is Krusty for $2.1 million. That was what it's been. We asked for an extension of the award. Originally, we had the bid opening back in August sometime, and Slutsky extended the bids for 85 days. Under the law, we have to award within 45, but he extended it for the 85 days to allow Parks to deal with its internal approval process to agree to the higher bid price, which is not that Slutsky's price went up. It didn't meet what the engineer estimate thought it would. So Parks has now allocated the additional funds to now for us, in order for us to award the bid.
So moved.
Second? Second. Any other discussion? If not, roll call, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Just so the board is clear, and if you pay attention to the resolution, I'm sure you pay attention to the resolution, but the resolution has a stipulation that the final sign-off for all this is required to the controller's office, which is a requirement upon all CDs and Cs. It's a ministerial act, but the controller's office, once that's done, then we will execute contracts with Parks. Okay?
We're not gonna have it till spring of next year.
No.
The actual construction won't happen
Oh,
until
yeah,
spring.
hope the controllers sign off.
Hopefully, the controller will sign off by the end of the year.
I would hope so.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Okay, next up is the extension of the SHUPS contract for system-wide fiber maintenance services. In 2012, the authority contracted with SHUPS for a 3-year contract with the option of extending for 2 additional 1-year periods. We're asking to, since we've had a positive work relationship with SHUPS during this contract, we want to extend them for 1 year. The same hourly rates apply, the not to exceed amount of $35,000 for a fiber optic emergency repair.
This is good for not only our own fiber optic network, but because the customers we have with our dark fiber program, one of the things, condition of the agreement, is that we have a certain response time from a capable fiber service like SHUPS. So this is just a good time for our contract as well.
And this is strictly repair
As needed.
That's correct.
as needed.
Right.
So moved.
Second? Sidebar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The second, actually, this is the third quarter traffic accident summary report. Is attached. It's actually the third quarter. It's correct on the back of the sheet there.
Amendment to change that from the-
Yeah, I think it's just, the third is on the back. I think it's just in the title.
What's
Fred and Teresa for a month.
You can see in the chart.
That's the only one I could get away with legally.
You can see in the chart, we've got the first 3/4 of the accidents in there, and essentially the second and third quarter are approximately the same. Craig Gardner and myself reviewed the accidents, and there's no work that the authority needs to do to try to prevent a certain accident from reoccurring. These basically seem to be from driver error, driving too fast for weather conditions, or not paying attention, distracted driving, texting, that kind of stuff, that there's not much we can do about that. One follow-up accident we had from the second quarter was the overheight truck impact on Rinaldi Boulevard. We put out new signs and we cut off some limbs, so hopefully that will help to prevent that from happening in the
It's
future.
always been a problem, seeing those signs, they've been throughout that.
Yeah.
No action required on this, correct?
I'm missing, there was a number of, where you said what, the employee accidents were on the same.
We address those separate. Our concern in engineering is with the traveling public, and if there's somebody sliding off the road every time at this corner, we want to maybe repave or do something that way. We address our employee accidents under the safety committee.
And this report was born of the feedback we received from the board on some of the comments you folks gave us about you felt there wasn't enough information on how you can mitigate risk, and this is one of those things where, like Jeff said, when there are certain accidents involving the public occurring in the same area, then are there things that we as the authority can do to mitigate or improve something? But in some of these accidents, especially the people with texting, you just can't fix stupid. But even in that case, we are putting up texting facilities here that we can come off. Hudson has one, and we're working to implement them on the other facilities.
And with the bridge repairs, probably going to, hopefully that'll be reduced.
Yeah.
And doing this extra amount of examination, we have made a couple of changes that, should have been made, that we wouldn't have made if we hadn't done this exercise. It is working.
Last one, Jeff?
Engineering jobs in progress. We're coming to the end. Next week, we're going to open up to 3 lanes, the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, during rush hour. There will still be intermittent lane closures occurring, but rush hour is going to be open to 3 lanes of traffic. That's the big highlight.
Around Halloween.
Yep.
That's pretty great.
You never know when Darth Vader might go through the bridge.
I didn't.
Westbound is a real treat with 3 lanes open this afternoon.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Brian?
Good afternoon. First up is the monthly investment report. There were 3 investments in the month of September. Yields displayed or presented. At this time, we're running approximately $36 million in the Maintenance Reserve Fund on the remainder of the Big Kiska job. As of the end of September, there was about $8 million left to be spent on the contract. Our yields for the month are continuing to grow more favorably as our investments are invested with a longer maturity timeline, time horizon.
But the extra goals are keeping it more comfortable.
Well, the authority has done very well this year in terms of year-over-year increase in traffic, and as a result, we're seeing a little bit of extra revenue here and there, which is always helpful.
So the people coming back from your farm, that could definitely help.
Could be, but it's really $1.50 a gallon less for gas. I don't care what anybody's saying. That's a lot of money in everybody's pocket.
Only on this side of the river, though. The other side's only $1.25. A little more expensive.
Okay, well, but still, at $1.25, it's a lot of money.
Motion?
Motion? Equal to our total.
Second.
All in favor?
Next up is the authority's annual workers' compensation renewal. The authority's workers' compensation insurance policy renews on October 21st. This year, the authority has been offered a 30% upfront discount, down by 5% versus last year. The new policy is anticipated to cost approximately $461,645. That's based on estimated payroll. The board, it should be noted that, as with any of these types of workers' comp policies, the board is really voting upon the workers' comp rates, not the actual amount that will be spent, because the actual amount that will be spent will be based upon final actual audited payroll that won't be known until after the policy year is closed.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, if not, roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Okay, last up is the Accident Review Committee report for the third quarter 2015. There were 78 accidents this year as compared to 40 the previous year. In addition, there were 7 accidents, none with injuries, involving authority vehicles as compared to 2 the prior year. Details of the accidents involving employees are reflected in in the narratives that I just presented in the memo. On a year-to-date basis, accidents through September were 231 this year versus 158 last year. We've not been able to identify any discernible pattern, as it seems to be increasing across the system as opposed to any single bridge. To some extent, yes, one could say it would be more cars. I don't know that, the approximately 1-2% increase we would have, possibly, but even 2% increase, I would expect you would see a corresponding increase in terms of accidents. This is a lot more than 2%.
Is there any increase in involvement of employees with contractors as far as moving, changing?
This particular quarter, I don't believe we had any instances where our staff were involved with an accident with a
I just
contractor.
mean increase in transactions or traffic. Say you got more movement from the garage to the bridges or the other way around.
I don't know that, anything other than just possibly distracted driving. The analysis that Jeff's group goes and performs is to try to evaluate what the accident rates are being driven by, and we don't appear to have any clearly identifiable cause that covers the entire system. It seems to be somewhat random.
Seasonal employees.
It's certainly not seasonal employees. We actually, although third quarter we had seasonals, no.
I mentioned administrative.
Most of these accidents don't involve authority vehicles at all. Most of them. These are all just accidents on our system.
The only 7 accidents involved authority vehicles. The only thing that we've noticed is that a lot of accidents appear to be, low-speed rear-end collisions. And we see that frequently. Quite frankly, the only thing we can attribute it to is people just not paying attention to what's going on in front of them. And it's unfortunate, but that's a behavior that there's little that we can do to modify.
Sadly, yes.
The guest does it with its texting and cell phone.
This report is for information purposes only. No action is required by the board.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
No human resources report, no information technology report, no bridge operations report, no executive director's report.
My monthly report of defensive is 0, as well as the September 2015 traffic and revenue analysis report and the easy pass sales report.
Thank you. Any presentations to the board, old business, new business? We have the new business, we have amendment to the fiber optic lease with Lake Tower, fiber network.
Yes. In July, the board approved a 10-year lease with Lake Tower Fiber Networks on the Bear Mountain Bridge. Light Tower has come back to us and said they'd like to lease 36 additional dark fiber. This is an addendum to that existing lease. It does require, since we are extending the lease, it does require board approval. And we expect this to generate approximately $142,000 in new revenues for the authority.
You're exercising an option that was in your lease that you guys approved, the board approved last time.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any attorney-client privilege?
I have one item and client privilege, so.
Okay, but there no action coming
No
out of
action
that?
at all.
Nope. We can adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
I just
Thank
need
you.
Carl